There was a major heel turn and new champions were crowned on SmackDown. Matt Cardona is making an AEW return and multiple stars were confirmed to be suffering from injuries. Stay tuned for all the wrestling news. Last night, SmackDown saw DIY cause somewhat of an upset in my mind anyway. I don't know if you find it an upset, because I certainly do.
Yeah, I think it's an upset of a result, but I was kind of expecting some chicanery to come.
That's it. That was the expected part. Well, what we're referring to, of course, is DIY beating the Motor City Machine Guns to become the new WWE Tag Team Champions. Now, earlier in the night, the Street Profits were found laid out backstage. Nick Aldis was stressing out because that's his challengers. They were meant to face the Motor City Machine Guns last night on SmackDown for those tag titles. Nick Aldis stressing. They can't compete. Who does he run into? The Motor City Machine Guns and Johnny Gargano, who goes...
They're friends. They go way back.
Way back.
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano is like, hey, if you want a title match tonight, I know the team that will happily compete for that title match. And then we got it. We got DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns. During the match, though, it did appear like DIY weren't on the same page.
Yeah, it got to a point where Ciampa shoved Gargano because he wasn't getting to the outside quick enough to take care of it was kind of
there
just
was
a lot
the
of back and
miscommunications.
forth. Yeah, a lot of miscommunications, and it gets to a point where he shoves him pretty firmly. Gargano is then told, DIY is over, like we're through, we're done, and then commentary's like, oh my god, it's all falling apart for DIY. Johnny Gargano gets 2-on-1 for a little bit, and then he's able to capitalize with a bit of a ruse that they pulled off.
Yeah, so Ciampa's on the outside looking like he's getting a steel chair. The referee, of course, doing the best officiating by making sure that chair does not get involved in the match. Meanwhile, while his back's turned, Johnny Gargano hits Chris Sabin with a low blow.
His favourite feud of all time, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Clearly. He's taking shades out of that feud. He kicks him in the nuts. Then he manages to tag in Ciampa, hits a meet in the middle, and we've got new tag team champions and a DIY heel turn.
Yeah, WWE's YouTube channel is spinning this as a ruse. So they're kind of all going in on, So I think we've got a new dynamic to DIY in which we're maybe going to see them tease a breakup 5,000 times.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, at least this time we got teased the breakup, and then they went, just got you. We're not breaking up.
That's it. It looked a bit like Johnny was having a hard time adjusting to Ciampa's more aggressive way a couple of weeks back. So, they're on the same page now.
Well, sticking with SmackDown last night and miscommunication between tag team partners and former tag team partners, we did get an interview from Kevin Owens. This was backstage with Michael Cole in a car. I really enjoyed the way this was framed. It was just in Kevin's car and they were having a little chat.
It's nice and quiet in there.
Exactly. It's a good space to record. Speaking during an interview, though, in the interview, he addressed Cody Rhodes and said that since Cody's return to WWE, everything has been about him, even referring to the fact that he has 3 sets of pyro in his entrance.
And he has to have 3 finishers.
He has to have 3 finishers. He's got 3 sets of pyro, and his logo is everywhere, complains Kevin Owens.
It's even on his neck.
It is on his neck. He's always got it. You can't escape from it. He addressed, though, Michael Cole asked him about Sami Zayn, saying, you're saying all of this about Cody Rhodes because he teamed with Roman Reigns, but your best friend, Sami, also realigned with him. And Kevin sort of addressed that because I think this has been a big hole in what has been a very good story with Kevin.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why don't you also have an issue with Sami? But he addressed that last night, saying that he will cross that bridge. Will we get something at WrestleMania? That's my mind going, okay, we're getting it further down the line.
A few months down the line, I am kind of on board with the idea of Cody becoming a bit of an egomaniac, though, as a heel. I think it would be such a good turn for him, but is it time yet? He's just been outed as like one of the faces of the company at that Netflix event, so... I
think you can have a little bit of nuance with it. I think you can have that and certain characters be like, no, he is a dick. Yeah. Like Kevin being like, rightfully, he's not a good guy, but then everyone else being like, it's Cody Rhodes. Of course, he's a great guy. Yeah. He's got nuance. He's got levels. He's like an onion. He's got layers.
Like an ogre.
He's like an ogre.
He is Shrek.
He is. Cody Rhodes is the Shrek of WWE. You can quote me on that one. Sticking with SmackDown, though, last night, we do have someone advancing in the US title tournament.
Yeah, Tiffany Stratton beat Naomi and Elektra Lopez on SmackDown to advance to the semifinals of the WWE Women's US Championship Tournament. She's then going to be facing Michin in one semifinal, while Bayley and Chelsea Green will face off on the other side of the bracket. It's set to all blow off at Saturday night's main event. event. It's got to be Chelsea Green.
It's got to be Chelsea. Now I'm thinking, hypothetically, we're getting Chelsea and Tiffany in the main event, or in the final of this tournament. Tiffany doesn't need it. She's got money in the bank. And she's going to probably cash in.
And then she goes, I'm going to cash in for the US title instead.
And immediately wins it after a cash in. No, oh God, no. She might do that one. Yeah, they've done it before with the US title.
Yeah, it's never the best payoff for the money in the bank.
I think Chelsea's got this. It's got to be Chelsea. Tiffany can cash in elsewhere and get that world title or WWE title. I just can't see at all Bayley or Michin winning this.
I can see Bayley winning it. I think I've been saying that for a few weeks now, but at the same time, I don't know. It just feels like it's Chelsea Green's time.
Chelsea Green's time, and I think everyone's sort of in agreement on that one. But sticking with the Green household, we've got some news about Matt Cardona. Now, obviously, he appeared at Ring of Honor last night. He came out to challenge Chris Jericho and be confirmed as his opponent for Final Battle in the Hammerstein Ballroom. It was also announced that he'll be making an appearance on AEW Rampage in just a week's time.
Is this his first appearance since when he came back and wrestled Edge?
Yes, Adam Copeland. He came back and faced Cope. That was part of the Cope Open, him coming back. We've not seen Cardona much. This is someone I thought would be all
straight
over.
Away. Yeah, we thought he was just going to be a major factor in AEW from pretty much day one.
Because he appeared as alongside Cody Rhodes in the pandemic days of AEW. I'm intrigued to see what he does here. I imagine it's just to further this feud with Jericho, and they've realized, okay, we've got 2 weeks until this event, and we've only just had it confirmed now. We need to really ramp it up, and we'll have some Ring of Honor crossover on AEW TV. But
this also comes off the back of the weird stuff that was going on between GCW and AEW Online. It was all kind of...
We had Ricky Stark being pulled from the show. His original opponent was Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
One way, this is going to get incredible heat for Matt Cardona. He knows how to get some heat with that GCW crowd, and him saying that he is now working for the company that pulled the main event from the Hammerstein show, and now he's working their Hammerstein show.
King of the Indies.
He is the king of the Indies. He's absolutely fantastic, and I hope that we see more of him in AEW. I've wanted him back in WWE for a very, very long time, but him back in AEW is also equally great. His segment with Jericho last night, Jericho being like, "Hey everybody, it's Zach," and then getting cut off. Fantastic stuff. I can't wait to see what they do at Final Battle. Well, I can wait. I can wait to see what Jericho does.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what Cardona's going to do to Jericho.
That's the wording I was looking for. Rounding things off, though, we've got some updates on some injuries off of the back of War Games.
Yeah, I mean, it was
brutal.
It all kind of came out quite quickly around the time there was some speculated injuries, and obviously the match itself was fairly brutal as far as the modern War Games standard goes.
Yeah, well, firstly, Tonga Loa suffered a torn bicep during that match at Survivor Series.
Did see him sort of grabbing his arm, but then he was still going through with some moves in which he was having to lift.
That's the thing.
Like, oh my God.
That's the adrenaline. Got to be the adrenaline. But it was confirmed on SmackDown that he will be out of action indefinitely, but he has undergone successful surgery to repair his torn bicep. Secondly, though, Bronson Reed's injury has now been confirmed by WWE.
Yeah, he's broken his foot following that massive splash from the top of the cage, which, I mean, a foot break isn't ideal.
It's not ideal. Now, on SmackDown, they showed footage of the actual moment it happened, and you see him landing, and his foot lands first.
Yeah.
And you can go, yep, that will break your foot. He is a larger man who came off the top of a cell at full force.
But he's also just been inserted into the main storyline in WWE right now. So it's one of those where, how are they going to navigate this with the broken foot? Is it going to be severe enough that he can't even be out there in a boot? If he can be out there in a boot, it might be all right. Are they going to have to turn on him and kick him out of the new bloodline? Like, what?
I mean, the same questions goes for Tonga Loa.
Yeah.
The bloodline, what's he going to be doing? But Bronson Reed will be also out of action indefinitely. And to round things off, Jimmy Uso suffered a broken toe during the match. This was confirmed during the media scrum after the actual event, but SmackDown confirmed it and reiterated it. And he will also be out of action indefinitely. There's a lot of people out of action.
Hopefully not for too long, though, with a broken toe. It can go one of two ways. It can either be horrific, or it can be just, he'll be fine. Give it a few weeks.
Yeah, it's I mean, you mentioning that the fact that the match was quite brutal, I think there's been a lot of discussion around that one being, was it brutal enough? Was it, or a bit more tame because there was no blood in that aspect? I mean, looking at it now, that's 3 injuries in one match.
Yeah, and that's got to be something that's proving to be a bit of a head scratcher for the company.
Yeah,
This is a very popular event, but goddamn the injuries.
The injuries coming out of it, but hopefully they all recover fast and back on TV soon. Tonight, though, you have Ross for NXT Deadline live reactions. That is 11 p.m. GMT, youtube.com/cultaholic/live right here.
The
Go leave
room's
them some
open now.
messages.
Go leave them some messages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do the usual. Leave them some messages.
Posts. You'll have something to read when it starts.
Yeah, because my God, those pre-shows. I mean, does it have a pre-show? I don't know.
Probably.
11 p.m. See you then.
Maybe.